Hey Sagittarius, thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a reading for the remainder of May 2025. And if this reading resonates with you and you would like a personal reading to be a little bit more tailored to your specific situation, please take a look in the description for my email and reach out. I'd be happy to do a reading for you. See what we got going on for Sagittarius. Oops. Sagittarius. They're not jumping super fast this reading. Man, I'm actually going to hold off on the advice for a little while. We'll get there when we get there, I think. For some reason, this might be one where we need to understand the rest of the situation before the advice comes through. So at the heart of your reading for this month, or for the rest of this week, you have the Page of Cups. This sort of feels like a new sort of way of experiencing or expressing your emotions. Maybe even letting different parts of you speak more than they typically would. Expressing yourself in ways that are not typical for you. Maybe even unusual to other people as well, or just not so common. You know, there's maybe an encouragement to express in a more childlike way. You know, dress in ways that bring out colors that feel good to you, that feel bright and happy and full. And lightness is a word that kind of keeps coming through with this as well, where no matter what sort of emotions you're dealing with at any given moment, by bringing maybe a lightness or a remembrance that they are not so heavy as they may seem, or that maybe a reminder that they are going to pass and that they are passing, that you're not stuck in any emotion at any one time. And I think there may be a stronger element of exploration in your experience, an open to newness. Because I think there may be sort of a reconsideration of what it means to feel very fulfilled for you, what harmony in your life looks like, the way that you show up in community or around other people, what home feels like for you. This is going to be in your conscious realm this month, the Ten of Cups. This is kind of consciously taking a moment to look at the future that you'd like to see for yourself and very possibly the people around you as well. But you're going to be moving in the world in a way that is maybe different than what you usually would be doing. This is sort of a feeling that your emotions are showing you the kind of happiness that actually lights you up now. So there may have been periods of time recently or in the past for however long where you kind of were moving with an intention or a set of goals that didn't really give you that fulfilling feeling. And I think this is a recognition that and maybe you needed to go through those things in order to realize what things actually do feel good to you. Maybe it was difficult to actually assemble all of the things that feel good into one cohesive package that is your life. Maybe you had moments where or stretches of time where you felt very happy, very fulfilled, creatively free, all of these, expansive emotions, but maybe they didn't last very long. And so now it seems that you're kind of you're actively trying to combine the parts of life that do light you up and make you excited to live, that make your experience bright. It seems that you're working to bring more of those things into harmony with one another so that your life can be this ongoing, more sustained, satisfying experience. And I think that the idea of assembling the kinds of life experiences you want is a big theme for the week too, because the Page of Swords is in your subconscious realm. This is the card of kind of gathering more experience, of kind of sifting through the information you've gathered, and even honestly looking at the trying experiences that you've recently been through, or the parts of life that have felt very confusing, and kind of just receiving in a very deep way, you are taking stock of all of your experience, at least all of your recent experience. And I see sort of a contrast between the different landscapes here this is what you're working towards, while this kind of foundational land is still being established. So it's like this is where you're moving, but at least there seems to be an honesty about the moment that you're in right now. It's like, well, maybe these things have not come together in the way that I would like, but that it is coming together. The ground is feeling more solidified. That foundation is coming together. It's right now, it's just sort of making sense of the foundation that you want in order to give you this feeling. And I think that's doable. Let's see if we can get some clarification on the Ten of Cups. kind of a reluctant one. There could be a bit of a conflict in a way between the vision that you imagine for yourself and the way that that's going to come together with the people around you, whether it be, significant others, children, friends, family. Maybe there could be some tension, I suppose, between, being emotionally honest with yourself and what is going to serve you, what your emotional needs are at this time. Because I think, and maybe a feeling of, new opportunity opening up for you as well, new possibility, but there's sort of a conflict of interest that I see in your conscious realm. So it's like you want this very fulfilling, very happy, free, but settled experience of the Ten of Cups. But maybe for yourself, there is a calling to go outside the garden, to seek maybe a more challenging mountain to conquer, for lack of a better word, or just explore. Where if the King of Cups was upright, this would be a very emotionally astute, satisfied individual who is capable of pursuing the new experiences while maintaining the balance of honoring other people's emotions as well and their needs, and kind of balancing those with your own. But because the king is reversed here, I think there's tension between your emotions and fulfillment on a personal level versus an emotional fulfillment around other people. So you may be confused as to what you're meant to be working towards right now. See if we can get some clarification on the Page of Swords in your subconscious realm. Yeah, and this whatever information you're assembling right now and how it's coming in, it could make it very difficult to move in the direction of a particular vision of happiness, because you're getting new information all the time. It may feel like you're changing your mind a lot. See if we can get one more for clarification here. I think that's right, though. Yeah, and there could be, because the Page of Swords is clarified by the Eight of Wands and the Six of Cups. There's a lot of information that's reaching you very, very quickly, and maybe some healing from old patterns, things that you learned in childhood, or maybe older wounds or hardships, healing from the past. And maybe you're even trying to make sense of, what your values that you learned in the past, what were they? What did actually get carried on to you? Maybe this is information that's becoming more clear. Because this, I could see how, being hit with a lot of new insight as to your upbringing or, how you were conditioned earlier in life, that can make it difficult to know for sure with confidence that you're building the future that you actually want. There could be a values sort of exploration here or realization. And maybe that's why the Page of Cups is kind of at the heart of the reading for this month as well. It's like you're almost being called to tap into a different set of information that is not kind of the, how do I put it? So there's realizations of patterns from childhood and previous conditioning that you might pick up through therapy, or just talking about your emotions with people you love or are close to, good listeners. Like there's that information that comes in, but then there's like the way that you contact your heart and also contact the world around you as well, your natural environment, and maybe playing around more with how you feel in your natural environment. What feels more natural for you? Like if you were to embody this playful kind of spirit, this adventurousness that I think would characterize, a happy, fulfilled life. What is that experience like for you? And maybe it's like some of the difficulty is coming from all of the new insights that you've gotten from your past about how you've behaved, and but maybe you need to be leaning more into like the experience for yourself, kind of exploring your own authenticity first, at least for a little bit longer. It's like, I don't think that this is a poor direction to be moving in, a poor thing to be putting your energy toward. It seems like you're very aware that you need goals and structure to find happiness, but maybe just there's a step before, and you're at that step before this, that is much more exploratory, that asks you. And maybe the information that's coming through from your past is trying to inform you about the person that you can be. Maybe there were childhood delights or passions that you had as a younger person that have been dormant for a while, but you're suddenly realizing what kinds of things have been missing from your life that you used to experience very regularly that made life feel full. So this could be a time of reconnecting with those things as well. So maybe feel into that dynamic for where you are as an individual, because this is a collective reading that might speak to a wider audience, a wider group of people. So now let's see why the Lovers might be in your challenge for this month. I think based on some of maybe the natural tension that I've described in the reading so far, maybe values alignment can be difficult with people you love right now, or it could be a time where you're kind of exploring a new way of being. It could be triggering the people around you or concerning them in some sort of way. Maybe they're in a transformative moment for themselves as well that is making the connection and the harmony feel difficult. So let's see why the Lovers is here in the challenge. Okay. Yeah, I mean, sort of big emotionally deep experience could be the challenge for you and the loved ones in your life. I see wish fulfillment coming in with the Star, as well as deeper subconscious things that have probably been very difficult to work with, kind of coming up to be processed and felt on an emotional level, maybe for both of you or each of you, depending on how wide this circle of loving individuals feels for you. But there's also a willingness to give one another space as well. So it's a challenge, but it's almost like a natural sort of challenge. It doesn't feel quite so combative. It just feels like it may be difficult to accept that everybody's on slightly different pages right now. Different pages dealing with kind of deeper emotional themes. And there's a lot of blue healing energy and expansive energy in your reading so far as well. So this is not the kind of reading where it's sort of warnings about adjusting behavior or kind of breaking out of cycles of negativity. This is more just allowing yourself to take advantage of a moment of great healing, and trusting that the other pieces, like the other, like external, I've kind of lost it there, but basically your external world will become more harmonious after you kind of get right with yourself in a deeper way. So now that we've kind of explored the lay of the land here, let's see what the advice for this week is now. Might also receive help or insight from unexpected places this month too. You know, people that you wouldn't typically like talk to or communicate with, or even animals or other beings or spirits that, maybe there's just like more kind of mystical communication happening this week as well. More expansiveness. That's just kind of a feeling I get as well. More room to explore feelings, more room to process difficult ones. So let's see. Yeah, you've got the Emperor in your advice for this month. So this is really kind of pulling back and sitting in your own personal power first. So like we had the King of Cups in reverse for you, kind of not maybe able to get in touch with your own individual emotions in that deep way. I think the advice here is to maybe allow your passions to ignite a little bit more. So while there is kind of this emotional exploration, like kind of just trying things out, I think that you can let your passions kind of guide you. I don't think that those things are going to be working against each other. You know, the things that you know kind of light you up, make you feel powerful, whole, complete, and then like kind of letting those emotional states or that, you know, those feelings lead you into your next kind of course of exploration. So let's see if we can get a little more clarity on the Emperor. And if you do encounter like real moments of hardship where life is just feeling even against you or immovable in some way, you know, kind of don't let the appearance or the impression of these hard mountains or this, you know, kind of that dark kind of void or abyss or unknown get you down. Kind of focus more on just your power. You know, those external elements have the powers of their own. Things are going to be what they are. You can't control everything, but if you know that you can pull all of your power and your focus back into yourself and caring for yourself in particular, you'll feel like a very strong, capable individual. So if you see feelings of fear or overwhelm popping up, maybe let those be a cue to ask yourself, what are my needs right now and how can I honor those? And that will make you feel very powerful. You will prove to yourself that you are an individual who cares about you, who is capable of taking care of you. You almost need to kind of prove it to yourself again every once in a while. Yeah, and the Emperor is clarified by the Two of Swords and the Ace of Swords. So I think by setting your boundaries a little bit more firm, at least for this short period of time ahead of us, I think that's going to help you really kind of come back into your fire, your passion. So you might be going through something emotionally challenging right now, and maybe like again with the processing of information. That's a theme that's really here. Like the way to process things will become much more clear when you set some boundaries. Maybe stop trying to figure as much out or actively like concerning yourself with how things are going to come together and harmonize in your life. Maybe just like allow yourself some breathing room by cutting out like the need to control your future or like have this just precise vision that you're creating right now. Like maybe the resources are not quite here for that, but they want to come in. The insights want to come in. So it's almost like narrowing your focus back to you a little bit more so that you can actually receive the insight naturally. So with that being said, I think it'd be good to get a couple oracle cards for you to kind of draw this reading together, maybe give you some highlights for what to carry forward with you through this week, some energies you may want to embody or possibly avoid. Let's see. For Sagittarius. This is definitely a slow-moving day for the cards. So maybe, I don't know if that suggests anything, but maybe maybe feeling it energetically sort of lacking at this moment, but I don't, if that's the case, I don't think you're going to stay that way. There's always brighter times ahead. Sounds really cliche, but let's see. Can we get a couple oracle cards for Sagittarius? I don't think that's them. Nice. Wow. I hope. This is a tough one for me. Innocence and flowering both showed up here, which would be resonant with the rest of your reading, particularly innocence and its connection to the Page of Cups, which is at the heart of your reading for this month. And flowering and that abundant energy is would typically be sort of like Queen of Pentacles energy, like a lot of natural abundance and harmony. But these things were reversed as I flipped them over, and then you have the source upright. So I'm trying to feel into what this might mean. So there's definitely a highlight on the fact that there is the kind of the source power, like a deeper power that wants to be expressed through you. With the flowering and the innocence kind of reversed here. Maybe there's an image of yourself and what you're trying to achieve that is somehow blocking your true fulfillment, and maybe it has to do with sort of wanting to appear and have a particular experience that is not quite from your heart. So it's like it looks good, it should feel good by how you've almost calculated it to feel. It seems like these things would be harmonious for your life, but for whatever reason, maybe you're not having that feeling of power by cultivating these traits. So while innocence and this feeling of abundance are not negative in and of themselves, maybe your fixation in some sort of way on this being your experience is keeping it from being your experience. Because I think that maybe Source is trying to reveal something to you in this kind of unorthodox style of communication. So rather than trying to force the experiences of lightheartedness, playfulness, and joy and all of this, maybe feel for yourself on this, because for some of you, maybe these emotions are what are in store for you. That this abundance is something to be feeling. That this innocence and this unique style of communication or connection with the natural world, maybe that's exactly what you need. But then for others, maybe you need to drop that image of you as being so connected all the time and so abundant in all of this, and feel that in a different way. So rather than thinking about who you are and how abundant you are, maybe feeling into abundance in a different way. So rather than reading Innocence and Flowering for this month, I'm just going to read the Source. That feels like the one that is really trying to be highlighted, and is the only one of these that actually came out upright, quickly, without hesitance. The Source. When we speak of being grounded or centered, it is this source we are talking about. When we begin a creative project, it is this source that we want to tune into. This card reminds us that there is a vast reservoir of energy available to us, and that we tap into it not by thinking and planning, but by getting grounded, centered, and silent enough to be in contact with the source. Go ahead and read it one more time. We tap into it not by thinking and planning, but by getting grounded, centered, and silent enough to be in contact with the source. It is within each of us, like a personal, individual sun giving us life and nourishment. Pure energy, pulsating, available. It is ready to give us anything we need to accomplish something, and ready to welcome us back home when we want to rest. So whether you're beginning something new and need inspiration right now, or you've just finished something and want to rest, go to the source. It's always waiting for you, and you don't even have to step out of your house to find it. Yeah, and I think with the Emperor being your advice here, kind of letting that source energy that is connected to you and that you are connected to, maybe allow for a more full experience in that way. I think this is maybe an invitation also to lighten up on yourself in some sort of way, and that you're not just trying things out or exploring to get somewhere. you're doing it to feel good. And I think maybe that's a feeling I didn't express throughout the reading that was kind of underflowing everything, was maybe the exploration to get somewhere rather than to just experience. So I hope that you are able to kind of tap into a more playful and explorational way of being this month that feels very supported and without expectation. It may seem like you need to be working very hard to capitalize on opportunities right now, or to make your life vision come to fruition as soon as possible. Maybe there's an element of trusting that you're lacking at the moment, that Source wants to reveal to you, or Source wants to be trusted a little bit more. There can be more lightness, and it feels like an invitation to let go in a lot of ways as well. So I wish you a beautiful remainder of the month, and absolutely appreciate your time. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.